This is my new 2026 GR86 Premium, and I wanted to start this channel as a way to document my progress with this car and show where things go over time. This is my first sports car and also my first manual transmission car, so it's a really exciting time for me. I've been a car enthusiast my whole life, so getting to actually own and drive this thing feels crazy. After the first 1,000 miles, it was time for the car's first break-in oil change. This ended up also being the first oil change I've ever done by myself. As you can see, I wanted to move the car kind of horizontally in my parents' garage because it was absolutely freezing outside, close to like 0 degrees, and I needed some heat in the garage if I was going to do this without losing feeling in my hands. I had to do a little bit of shuffling around, but because this car is so small, I was actually able to move it over and make the setup work. Now, this was also my first time using a hydraulic floor jack. Now, the first time I lowered it, it went down way faster than I expected, and that definitely scared me a bit. So if you can tell from the footage that I'm being extra cautious and checking everything 3 or 4 times, that's why. The first time I jacked the car up, I put it up on the front left pinch weld, and then I realized I couldn't put the jack stand there because the hydraulic jack was already there. So I basically had to put the car back down and figure out a better way to do it. After some research online and on Reddit, mostly Reddit, I found that there's a jack point in the front center of the car, which makes a lot more sense because then you can lift the front and then put both jacks under the pinch welds on both sides. As you can see here, I've got the jack pad right under that center point, and I'm checking it once, twice, 3 times before lifting it, because this was my first time and I did not want to mess this car up. Then I put the jack stands under the pinch welds on both sides, and again when lowering the car into the stands, I was not prepared for how fast the car drops when you rotate the jack. For safety, I put wheel chocks on the back 2 wheels because that's good safety practice from what I've heard online. Handbrake up, obviously, and car in gear. I also kept the floor jack on the front right side just as a little extra safety backup. It might be overkill, but I've seen some crazy videos on YouTube and I don't want to be one of them. Now, time for the actual oil change. As you can see, the shot isn't too great, but I was under the car trying to open the little access panel under 3 bolts. It went pretty smoothly. I didn't really spill much, so I was pretty proud of myself. I expected it to be a lot messier. The next part was taking off the gasket or the crush washer, and this was probably the hardest part of this whole thing. This thing did not want to come off. It was really stuck on there. After some prying using a flathead screwdriver, I was able to get the ring off and put the new crush washer on. Then I put the drain plug back in. After that, I torqued it to spec based on Toyota's recommendation. Next was the oil filter, and that part was super easy because on this car, it's top mounted. So I unscrewed the old filter, took it off, cleaned the area, and then got the new filter ready. I only paid like $6 from Toyota, so I was pretty happy about that. Then I took a little bit of oil, don't judge me, I used old oil here, and coated the rubber gasket on the new filter, then screwed it back on. Next, I chose to put in Mobil 1's 0W20 since it was so cold here, and I didn't want to use anything thicker like 5W30 in these temperatures. I know some people recommend 5W30 if you drive the car aggressively or in warmer weather, but I already knew I wasn't going to be driving this car hard for the next 5,000 miles. I had some highway driving coming up because I was going back to campus near Washington, D.C., and I was also planning to be pretty cautious with the car for the first couple of thousand miles anyways. This car took 5.3 quarts, so basically the whole big jug and then a little bit from the smaller one. Then I put the oil cap back on and that was pretty much it. Now it's time for the first start. I got in the car and this was the very first startup after my first oil change by myself. So I was definitely nervous. But boom, car started up, everything looked good. I let the engine run for about a minute or 2 and then I shut it down and checked the oil level after letting it settle. When I was in the car, I also used the maintenance app to log when I changed the oil in the oil filter, and I set a reminder for around 5,000 miles for the next change. I know Subaru and Toyota recommend like 7,500 and enthusiasts will say 3,000 if you're driving hard or in harsh conditions, so I figured around 5,000 was a pretty good middle ground of how I'm using the car. Quick side note, I cleaned the car after I finished, but it was so cold that the water literally started freezing on the car before I could even dry it. It took a couple minutes to become ice. You can even see on this microfiber cloth on the spoiler There are literally ice pieces on it from just sitting there for minutes. Thankfully, I'll be driving back to campus near Washington, D.C., so I should be escaping the worst of that weather. So yeah, this is where it starts. First sports car, first manual car, first oil change. I can't wait to see what comes next.